for us to all walk away with, right? So these are things and tactics that can be utilized outside of here, so I thank you for that. And it's a certain thing called synchronicity, right? When everything kind of moves together, sometimes without even planning for it, right?
Fact.
So initially we had a whole order that we had discussed with Sherry, and with the spirit of it makes sense for you to present on food while we're eating, right? You went first, and now I'm about to go behind you. And what's the first thing on my notes that it says?
Nice.
What's it say?
I can't read that except for breathing.
3 grounding breaths, right? Is what I plan to start us with, and you already started us with that, so that's synchronicity.
That's what's up.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. All right.
Peace.
All right, so physical health, financial health, lifestyle to enjoy it, right? We're kind of touching on all those areas intentionally, right? So he just talked about the physical side of things, right? Now financial, I'm somewhat touching on that, and then DeLorean will be doing a training on lifestyle, because how do we really truly enjoy the lifestyle that we want? By doing some things through time that's gonna make a big difference, right? All right, so we already did our 3 grounding breaths, right? So if you can, right, I'd like for you to just be intentional with yourself. This exercise that we're gonna go through, I'm not gonna ask anyone, you're not gonna have to share these things, right? So this is really about your process, right? And I'm just gonna guide you through it, right? We will ask for those that wanna share, but just think as it, like no barriers on yourself, right? So, there's a wise group called Outkast, right? And they said in one of their songs, spaceships don't come equipped with rearview mirrors, they dip as fast as they can, the atmosphere is now ripped, right? Spaceships don't come equipped with rear view mirrors, right? So we want to move forward, right? We want to keep our focus on what's to come, right? But still, right, what do we look back for? We look back for the memories, and we look back for the lessons, right? Sometimes we could dwell in that past, right? But if it's not for the good memories of it, or the lessons, we want to let that go, right? So 2022, if we can all just take a moment with ourselves, 2022, think for a second, what was the biggest lesson for you in 2022? Just take a moment with yourself. What was the biggest lesson for you in 2022? Right, because we all have our ebbs and flows, right? As we look back on the year, ideally we're thinking of some beautiful times, right, that created some great memories, right? Some of us have pain, some of us have had losses past year as well, right? But of course, if we're looking back for the memories and the lessons for what the past holds, right? So as you thought back, does anybody care to share, like, what was one of the biggest lessons for you of 2022? Thank you.
From the first of the year of 2020, I did not do an agenda for myself. And since I didn't do an agenda, I kept on going back and forth on this and that and everything, not focused on one thing at a time. Now at the end of the year, I've learned how to focus one thing at a time. But it takes time, because I have to stand in front of a mirror and say, okay, Beverly, you have to do it this way. It's not gonna work any other way. You tried it that way and you keep doing this and that and that and this. Focus on one thing at a time. Accomplish that, then move on to the next thing. So that's what I've learned.
Powerful lesson. Thank you,
Thank you.
Beverly, for sharing that. Powerful lesson. Oh man, yeah,
That was good.
yeah. And for all of us, right? Sometimes you hear a lesson that you're supposed to hear, and you may have heard it from Mama Beverly today, but somebody else may have just said something similar to you. That means that's something we need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
I call it echoes, right? So, and whatever your path of spirituality, like, are we listening? Are we listening? Are we receiving? So thank you for that. I definitely received that. Anyone else, as you think about, this is your own personal exercise. I'm not gonna put anybody on the spot, but what was one of the biggest lessons that you learned for 2022?
So my name is DeLorean, everybody. Call me D. One of the biggest lessons I learned So every year I start with one word. And my word for this year was acceptance. And wow, I definitely need to be careful with what I ask for, because God, whatever spirituality may believe in, will come into light and show me how to accept things. So I've been through a lot of different ups and downs with my family, and I learned how to accept it and move on. It's a new moment. Like in this moment, where am I? I'm here. Versus dwelling in the past of what I already accept. If I already accepted it, how can I go back to it? If I really accepted it, and I'm going back to it, means I haven't accepted it. So that's what I do now. I accept what is.
No, that's powerful, and I would go as far as to say, man, that's crucial in that path for happiness, right? Acceptance. Right, so as we're sharing, welcome.
Hello.
How you doing? All right.
Hello.
Join us. Whenever you feel
Peace.
Sound like it was your first time? All right, so for those that were not in the room, what we're talking about right now is what was some of the biggest lessons, right, that we learned from 2022. Realizing that the past is there for the memories of it and the lessons to be learned, right? We can't dwell in what happened, that's in the past, right? But we can focus on the future, right, which is a part of it. So we had Mama Beverly that shared about focus, the power of focus. Right? We had Brother DeLorean share about acceptance, was one of the lessons that he learned as well. Anyone else that's on your heart, if you just want to care to share. And as we're going through the exercise, we're not going to put anyone on the point like, what was your biggest lesson, right? We're not going to put people on the spot. But if anybody wants to share for the greater good, we'd love to hear from you. Anybody that care to share, what was one of your biggest lessons for 2022?
My name's Tim, by the way.
Hey, Tim.
My biggest lesson that is about learning new things, like starts with K, and y'all told me it's the green.
The kale.
Kale, yeah. My first time tasting that, and learning that people taught me like not to eat after 7. Eat if you get hungry. You eat like fruits or oatmeal, or popcorn like that. Not like heavy stuff like meat or veggie meat. Sometimes vegetables, but mostly the fruits. And that was my biggest thing. Learning new things. And learning how to lose weight, because I kept eating like good stuff like pizza rolls, hot pockets. I just can't stay away from that stuff. It told me to drop the weight from my career in boxing, and now I just learned how to eat right and eating more vegetables and putting in the system how you lose the weight. And then my cousin, she told me how to lose it too. She told me by drinking water and this type of juice to clear your system for 3 days, not eat for 3 days, and then after your 3 days, start eating like more vegetables and more water. So that's how she lost the weight, and now I follow her advice. So that's what I learned.
No, thank you, man. You dropped a lot of little nuggets in what you just said. I heard, not eating too late, right? That's a big portion of it. I heard fasting in there, right? Which is a great way for you to reset, right? I fast every single season. When the seasons change, something that I do is I fast. But I'm now doing intermittent fasting, right? Because, and for those that, if you want to kind of eat what you're still eating, but just kind of, man, I lost 25 pounds since August. Right?
Nice.
And not doing a lot of working out, just on the strength of how it is that we eat. So wherever our start point is, right, we can improve from there. And that's to your eyes point, just doing something a little better. Yes, ma'am.
Can I piggyback
By all
on what
means.
he said? I started on the weight loss journey like last year in December, and what I decided to do, mine had to start in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if I start in my mind, my body got to follow.
Yeah.
Boom.
I had to make my mind up that I wanted to lose weight. That's the only way I could. I have always been like that, because I've always been a really. I'm a big boned person. It's just the women in my family. We just big boned people. I've always been I'm not going to be a size 2. I'm not gonna be there, so there ain't no need of me trying to think I'm gonna be a 2. I'm not gonna be a 2. So last year, I went to the doctor and I told the doctor, I said by July 4th, my birthday, I'm a 4th of July baby. I said by July 4th, I want to be down 80 pounds. He said, okay. He said, okay, how we gonna do this? He asked me, how we gonna do this? I said, I don't know, you tell me how we gonna do this. So I said, he said, well, you sound like you got your mind made up. I said, I do. He said, okay. He said, first thing you got to do, you got to cut back on. He said, you got to tell, for the next 2 weeks, I want you to write down everything. Do not change your eating habits. He said, write down everything you eat. Do not change your eating habits. Now, my grandchildren, this one and this one, will tell you, I love to cook. I still love to cook. When I tell you I cook 2 and 3 meats, 4 and 5 vegetables, the whole spread. I still cook like that. But now what do? I walk from 5 to 7 miles every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day. 7 days a week.
Boom.
I walk 5 to 7 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to drink anything, anywhere from like a half a gallon to almost a gallon of water
Teach.
every day. And today I've been a little slack, I have to admit, and I have my slack days. And Thanksgiving, I put in there, cause what did I do Thanksgiving? I cooked 4 sweet potato pies, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So, did I eat it? Yes, I ate it. So I had my cheat days, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. I put in there for all of that. Am I gonna cook for Christmas? Yes. They already asked me, what am I gonna cook when I get home? Sitting up here feeding that thing. Grandma, what you gonna cook when you get home? I mean, really?
Who that sound like?
Because they know I'm gonna cook something when I get to the house. I cooked chicken wings before I came here. But
Now-
what I'm saying is that, but I still exercise, I still allot for things. But
So
you
I know one of the things Sherry has said when you came in is like, man, you look good, like you've lost weight since the 5K. So some of these lessons you've applied this year already. So what would you say in summary, like what's the biggest lesson based upon all these things that you're saying that you're walking away from this past year with?
I would say, start with your mind. You gotta make your mind up. What are you gonna do consistently?
Boom.
That's it.
There it is.
That's it. What you gonna do consistently? And consistently, my grandchildren tell you, I leave them in the bed. I'm up every morning. What time? Before 5. I'm usually up at 4 o'clock walking. I walk between 4 and 5 every day. Between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., I'm up walking. Every day. 7 days a week. That's what I do. I stay away from the carbs. Yeah. The day I had to taste that rice. And it was delicious. I had to have 1 spoonful. I said, Tay, let me have 1 spoonful of rice. It was so good. So, yeah.
All right. When we're in a room and people are adding on and giving to you in that room, you're in a great room, right?
Yeah.
So for those of us that are in receive mode, it's a lot of lessons and your reflections that you're teaching us, right? So thank you for everybody that shared. Right now, to shift that, right? So the lessons, right? We look to the past for the lessons to be learned and also the great memories, right? And we apply that moving forward. But for 2023, right? For 2023, let me get to my notes. For 2023, came out for a second. All right, for 2023, what's one thing, right? If you focus on, like now, of course, we got a baseline to the lessons that we learned for this past year, right? We're not beating up on ourselves. We see those lessons and we moving forward. But what's the one thing that you could do for yourself that will make 2023 even better than 2022? Just take a moment with yourself. Right? We're not gonna call you. I ain't gonna have to share that unless you care to share that. But just take a moment with yourself. What's that one thing that if you focused on that will make 2023 even more better, as Spike Lee said, than 2022? Yes, brother.
So again, I always like to say who I am. I'm DeLorean. New people came in the room. You can call me D. The one thing is integrity. And integrity is... Huh? Oh, I'm good. I just be the voice the voice in the background. Thank you. So the integrity, who knows what integrity is? By raising hands.
Yes.
Good. So I mean, without integrity, the structure falls, right?
Yes.
Without integrity, the thing won't hold. Integrity doesn't mean being righteous. It just simply means being your word.
That's it.
It just means being your word. So while I say integrity, meaning focus on what I say I'm going to do and don't deviate from that. Otherwise, the structure that I have will fall. Not that it will crumble or collapse, but it won't be full, solid, and complete. So for me, the one word and what I'll focus on is integrity. And then I won't have to worry about all the other stuff, the distractions.
Thank you for that. To add on to what the Lorian said, right, integrity also speaks to your word to others, but most importantly, to yourself.
Facts.
Right? How many times do we say for ourselves, man, I know I need to insert whatever we know, right? Because who's the best know of yourself? We are, right? Who's the best know of yourself, right? So, thank you, brother. So integrity, keeping word to not just others, but most importantly to ourselves. That's a big part of it as well. Anyone else? What's the one thing if you focus on in 2023 that will make it just a little better than 2022? Sherry Cravens.
The double M's, move more.
Move more.
I'm telling you right now, because I sit still all the time at a desk, hardly ever get up and move, but if you get up and move at least 10 minutes per hour or something like that will make a big difference. Because the more you sit, the more your body gets stiff. So we look at the elderly patients, as we get older, our body changes a lot. And I know my body has changed a lot. So if I don't move more, something's getting stiff. And trust me not getting up, when I get out the chair, it's like, well, I feel like this and I know good well. You just move more. You got to move more. That's how I tell it. I mean, if you sit still and don't do anything, you'll see what it feels like. And it really deteriorates your health also. If you don't move as much as you want to move.
So, in Finfield Life, we talk about compound, right? We talk about compound interest a lot of times in respect to money, but the same applies for our activities, our habits. They compound through time, right? Like, I ain't just put on all the 25 pounds that I lost. It took time to put those things on, right? And it takes time for it to go in the other direction as well. So move more is a crucial part of that. And walking, you spoke on walking, right? Just start wherever it is that we are, right? It's always a good place to start. Who else? We'd love to hear from you. What was the biggest things that, if applied to 2023, will make it even more better?
Excuse me for not introducing myself. My name is Beverly. I'm the mother to that young man over there. Your eyes. What has helped me out tremendously, because each year we get older. Yes. And when we get a birthday, it's like, I drop to my knees. It's like, God, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you for blessing me with another
Gratitude.
year.
Yes.
Add on. I am 76. And it's just such a blessing. And what you said, walking, I'm the middle child of 11. There's only 5 left now. Walking is definitely a key factor. Yes. That is so vital. Between first thing I do in the morning, my 8-ounce glass of water. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing I do. And then I do my prayer. As soon as I open my eyes, I do prayer for allowing me to walk in life. Yes. And to be healthy. Yes. Healthy is wealthy. Mm-hmm. So we can get so much more out of ourselves, but we gotta love ourselves first.
Boom.
Yes.
We have to. If we don't love ourselves first, how can you love someone else if you don't love yourself?
That's so true.
That's it.
We are key. So for 2023, my focus is to do better.
Nice.
That is so important. And no one could be harder on me than me.
Right.
Ooh, I can stand in the mirror and I don't curse at myself enough. I have respect for myself, but I will tell myself off, and then I'll write about it.
Oh yes.
And then I'll write about it. Put down the date and the time.
Yes.
What I did, how I did, and I didn't like what I did. And I thank God for everything. I wouldn't be here
That's it.
If I don't listen to him, I can tell you some stories,
I know.
but we don't have the time.
All right, Mother Beverly.
That's right.
Thank you for that, Mama Beverly. One of the things that you said of all the wisdom that you shared that really resonated is that self-love, right? So, you know, we don't beat up on ourselves as we're moving towards our ideal self. We accept and we love ourselves where we are, right? Case in point, when I was 25 pounds more, I looked in the mirror and I laughed like, yo, you got pull, you got to pull it together, right? Right, and that's how I talk to myself. Like I had those conversations. It's not me looking in the mirror like you're awful. Look at you. You didn't eat that donut. You didn't need it. Right? I'm not talking to myself like that, right? I'm talking to myself with love, right? And that's a crucial piece of it. Anyone else, we'd love to hear from you. Any lesson that applied to 2023 will make it just a little bit better than last year, brother son.
Peace and blessings. I know we came in a little late but on time. My name is Hassan, 21 years young, independent entrepreneur, born in Durham, North Carolina. So for everything I've been going through, I just come to understanding. And with understanding and clarity, and to listen to that wisdom, make everything that you know just even better as you go. For me, like he just going off of what Dee was saying earlier with integrity, I say discipline. Because, you know, I have days where I can wake up and whatever I wanted to get done that day, which is a routine, like you said, it's a discipline, like a daily discipline. Since I do music, you know, everybody's about business and contracts and know what you're signing and getting yourself into. So I take that same in my mentality, in my lifestyle. So I'm signing a contract. It's a non-negotiable to wake up and start a cold shower and 50 push-ups and pull-ups. It's non-negotiable to do a gallon a day. What I'm getting into discipline is kind of just like what Grandma had said earlier, is the time period. Just knowing that the early break is the worm. If I gotta work a 9 to 5, this is the stability and mentality. I have to pay bills. Doesn't mean I can't get my stuff done. Doesn't mean I can't get up early, go to bed on time, and you know, take myself to bed and get off that phone. It's not important. None of it is important. More important is self. Because you can't help or do anything for anybody else if you can't do for self. So, you know, discipline is what I'm gonna take into 2023 for I can't go out tonight, or I can't do this, can't talk, can't eat this, can't do this, and I do have a daily fast and intermittent fast. I only eat from 12 to 8, I have my time window, and that's it. I can order if I need to before bed and whatever, because the discipline is what's gonna take me farther than anything else.
Nice.
So
Well spoken.
we got wisdom coming from all ends, right? It's the African proverb that says it's the grown person that can reach the gourd off the shelf, but it's the young person's hand that can reach within it, right? We always recognize
Proverbs.
that on both ends of the spectrum, right, that there's lessons to be learned. So I appreciate you sharing your wisdom, man. One thing that he said, of the things that he said, we got a lot in parallel, we gotta continue to talk. But one of the things that he said was non-negotiable. Right? How many times do we negotiate with our goals? Right? How many times do we negotiate with our dreams? Right? You say you know, and so that's the thing, right? Us getting real clear, and that's perfect transition, everything in divine order. Right? It's perfect transition because what I like us to do, and I'm gonna share with you a screen, something that we use when we do some of our Fit Life trainings. But to get clear in certain areas of our life, what do we want more of? What do we want less of? Right, and then putting a plan together for that, and holding ourselves accountable to ourselves. Right, it's not to anybody else; it's for us ultimately. Right, so holding ourselves, not beating up on ourselves, loving ourselves, laughing at ourselves, accepting ourselves, but loving ourselves more forward. Right. So I'm gonna share with you certain areas that we kind of somewhat focus on. Alvin, are you still with us? Let's see. All right. Y'all will see here, but I want you to see.